Hello guys, my name is Boomer, and today we're going to check out a few games that I recently got in the past month. I mostly got these from thrift stores and swap meets, so let's check them out. Alright, the first game I got was Archer McLean's Mercury. I hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. This is a it's a fairly simple but a very nice puzzle game for the PSP. This came out around the time when the PSP first came out. I guess it's sort of showing off its graphical capacity or whatever, and I think it does that kind of well. Well, although this is a very early PSP game, it does look kind of nice. For early PSP standards, and it's a fairly simple puzzle game. All you need to do is move the Mercury from point A to point B. It has to be a certain color. It has to be, it has to have a certain percentage of the Mercury, and the Mercury can split up and move to different areas. And there's also timed areas or races. It has like I said, there's a few modes to do, and if you're looking for a fairly cheap puzzle game for the PSP, get this. It's only about $3 on Amazon, I think. And there's a sequel. Alright, so another game I got for the PSP, BlazBlue Calamity Trigger Portable. This is based off of Xbox 360 and PS3 fighting game, and I'm not sure if it's watered down or anything, but it's it's a very stylistic fighting game. It's very anime-esque. Yeah, I'm not even sure if that's a word, but yeah, it's very anime-like, and actually has a story mode and a lot of voice acting for the game. For the fighting controls, it actually kind of works. Unfortunately, though, you have to use the D-pad to control the characters instead of the little circle stick. It depends on the game, but really I kind of like the D-pad more than the circle stick, but for a fighting game I like the circle stick more. But the circle stick is used for special moves, which actually helps out, because usually in fighting games I don't I'm not really that good in fighting games, to be honest, and using the circle stick makes it a little bit easier to pull off special moves. If you want a fairly stylized and very cheap fighting game that's not Capcom for the PSP, then check this out. Alright, another game I got, the last PSP game, Dynasty Warriors. Just Dynasty Warriors. I've never played any other Dynasty Warriors game besides this one right here. I know in all the other ones except one, you fight a huge army and it's just you versus this huge army while other people on your side just do jack shit. I know recently Hyrule Warriors came out, and if I had a Wii U, I would buy it, but I don't have a Wii U. Anyway, this is obviously a portable version of the game, and for what it is, I kind of enjoy it, although it is very, very repetitive. All you do is pretty much destroy the other army and try to take a square, and you move up and try to take over the opposing army's base. I'm not sure if it's different from any other Dynasty Warrior games besides one is a fighting game. Graphically, this is a very early PSP game, and it kind of looks kind of bad actually, and the draw distance isn't really that good. But again, it is very, very, very cheap. It's about as much as Archer McLean's Mercury. Anyway, if you want a Dynasty Warrior game on the PSP, I know there's other Dynasty Warrior games on the PSP, but if you want a fairly cheap Dynasty Warrior game on the go besides Dynasty Warriors Next, which I've heard is kind of good, check this out. Let's move on to Nintendo stuff, and this is the only Nintendo game I got. This is Road Blasters for the NES. Alright, basically this is Pole Position and Spy Hunter mixed together. Pole Position because it's a 3D, this isn't necessarily a racer, this is just trying to avoid cars. And it's Spy Hunter because you're shooting down cars and avoiding obstacles. Graphically, this game is kind of average for the NES. It's not really too special, and the music isn't that special either. there isn't there barely is any music for this game at all. Although the gameplay I do kind of like, although it is very, very repetitive. It does get a little harder. You have to watch your gas. If you ran out of gas, you lose, obviously. So if you want a cheap NES game, or cheap racing NES game, then I'll get this. I don't really call it to be that. I don't really think it's that good, to be honest. All right, so let's move on to PS2 stuff. Okay, we have a very, very, very great game. This is Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus. This is the very first Sly game, and I am very, very, very familiar with Sly 1, 2, and 3, but not Thief in Time. I've never played that. I am a huge fan of the Sly Cooper series, at least the PS2 ones, and this one I do enjoy this game, but to be honest, 2 and 3 changed a lot to make it a lot for the better. This one's based more on it's more level structure instead of 2 and 3, where it's more of an open world. And it's very stylized, has a lot of great voice acting, and I do like the story, which is basically 5 evildoers take the Thievius Raccoonus, and Sly has to get the pages of the book back. You can unlock new moves if you get enough clues. That rhymes. And yeah, if you want a very interesting platformer for the PS2 that's not Jak and Daxter or Ratchet and Clank, then check this out. Also, a little fun fact, I had to find 3 copies of this game until I could find a working copy. Yeah, that's wonderful. Alright, and the last game, or the last PS2 game is, well, I found this game at a camera show for $2. Yes, a camera show. I found Final Fantasy XII. I haven't really played too much of this but I am kind of interested in it. The story is based. Well, I don't really know too much about the story so far. In the cutscenes, I saw King die, and that's really it. You're fighting a war for some. I don't know. I'll just talk about the gameplay. The fighting mechanic in this game is fairly different from any of the past ones, and yeah, it kind of reminds me of World of Warcraft, and I haven't played WoW in God knows how long, but it's more of an action RPG, but you actually have the ability to move around and hit whatever enemies you can. I guess I'll play more of this to get into it. I don't have any recommendations for this. It's not really well remembered that much. I may be wrong, but usually when I talk about great Final Fantasy games, most people mention 4, 6, or 7 or 9. I don't really hear much about this game. Alright, let's move on to some Sega stuff. This is the only Game Gear game I got. This is Sonic 2 for the Sega Game Gear. I don't own a Game Gear, so I can't really show any gameplay here, but yeah, I do remember playing this game years ago, and all I remember, it's a very butchered version of the Genesis games. I found this for $1, so couldn't really pass this, so yeah, I can't really give any recommendations for this because I haven't really played as much. So yeah. Alright, let's move on to the other Sega game I have. This is Virtua Cop for the Sega Saturn. This is basically another light gun game for the Saturn. There weren't really that many light gun games for the system, but this is the most remembered one. This is based off the arcade game of the same name, and for an early Saturn game, and especially for it being 3D, for Saturn standards, it does look kind of nice for 3D. Although, yeah, it's very, 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 very primitive. This was one of the first ever 3D light gun games. I do enjoy light gun games, especially if I have a second player with me. And I did have a chance to play this with 2 people, although I don't own 2 stunners. I had to use a controller, let the other person use a gun because I'm nice. And yeah, I did enjoy this. I do enjoy playing this more with 2 people than with 1 person. It's like fighting games. So if you want a Lycan game that's about $15, get this game. It's well worth it if you own a Saturn. Alright, so you've seen me ramble on about these somewhat cheap games, but now I'm going to show off, I consider this to be the holy grail of my game collection. This is also the only Atari system game I own. This is Sword Quest for the Atari 2600. Now what this is it's based off a contest that was back in 1982 and 83, and they were giving out these prizes, and quoting the Angry Video Game Nerd, these aren't little McDonald's toys. No man, this shit's real. This is just look. Win $25,000 Jewel Crown. Yes, there are 4 games in this series: Earthworld, Fireworld, Waterworld, which is this, and Airworld. Airworld was never released. Yes, Airworld was never released, and this game came out in very limited quantity. Now let me explain. They're basically contests, and Earthworld and Fireworld happened, and the contests were, find the code in the game, send it to Atari, and you might have the chance to win the prize if you place. And they would go to Atari, play different modded versions of the game, and if they win the prize. And for the 4 winners, they would come back at the very end to win a prize that's $50,000, a golden silver or golden sword with a silver base, or silver. They would just win a sword. I'm sorry, and a sword worth $50,000. So Earthworld's contest happened, Fireworld's contest happened, and yes, Waterworld's contest never happened. It was released in very, very, very limited quantity, making this an extremely rare game for the system. Although it isn't the rarest game for the system. I think Air Raid is one of the rarest games for the system. Yes, I checked on eBay, and it goes for around $300 to $600. It not only came with the game right here, upside down, sorry. It also came with pretty much everything I got. I found this game for about $10. So yes, that's a very good find. Each game actually came with a DC comic book. Yes, very nice. I wish I could show you footage of the game, but I don't own an Atari 2600, so oh well. It's a bit late for me to say that. So you've probably already seen clips of the game. So anyway, guys, you know what? After I'm done packing all this stuff in, I'm gonna show you something else that's video game related, but also it's not a video game. So see you soon. All right, everything's back in the box. I also found this at the camera show. It's a Pokemon comic, which I'm assuming was a manga before. I just found the title for this just hilarious. Electronic Pikachu Bungalow. I don't even know what that means, but I haven't read this, but it's kind of fun. It's kind of funny to see just random Pokemon comic. I know there's a lot of manga out there, and I know they're somewhat censored, but some of the comics are censored. Anyway, nice little find, only a couple dollars. Alright, thank you guys for watching my little pickups video. If you guys want me to do this again, put it in the comment section below. I also have a question for my subscribers. I want to do a Let's Play, but I'm not exactly sure which game I want to play. So, I left it up to 3 choices for you guys. I have Mario 1 for the NES, Sonic 1 for the Sega Genesis, and Crash Bandicoot 2 for the PlayStation 1. Whatever gets the most likes or the most commented game, I will play, and I will check in a month to see what game gets the most commented or whatever. So, there's that. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later.